The monster found it challenging to attack and defeat Lin Moyu. It imagined if the fight should go on like that, its skeleton army would be crushed. He realized the shockwave was even more powerful than the Wolf King's roar. It changed its skill and decided to use its fire breath, but that was nothing in the presence of the almighty Lin Moyu. As he saw that he acquired the skill and was using it, he interrupted it by summoning it to the space. With the help of his spirit power 40, he cut it off and trounced the monster. The monster was frightened and was destroyed in his pain as he defeated the monster. His skill, bronze level, experience, wisdom, and all related powers increased based on the addition of the monster he had just destroyed. Lin Moyu was happy that he had finally reached level 12, and he was grateful his power had been replenished. He thought that even though he was a necromancer and a professional mage, his skills were very different from those of the mages, and that the cooldown shortening of the robe was not used for him. He bent down as he picked the core that cost 10,000, about the price of 2 pieces of equipment. After leveling up, his power replenished rapidly, and he also realized he could summon 4 skeleton warriors again. As the powerful get out of the dungeon, people outside, not expecting him to come alive or see his dead body, finally see him walking out of the dungeon with a powerful wisdom robe. He imagined that the dungeon was 12 hours cool down, but hunting wild animals gave him little experience. Killing 10 wasn't even worth one of the dungeon monsters. He thought about how it went with him inside the dungeon. He figured out his biggest weakness and understood how his skill worked. As he sat under the tree, he thought of how to utilize the corpse explosion well, as he found it to be an unbeatable skill for him. 12 hours later, he stood up to walk towards summoning another 4 skeleton warriors. As he went, he saw how people were outside the wilderness and imagined why they were there. They were all eating and drinking. Immediately, he saw a dynasty guide stopping anyone from entering the dungeon. He imagined how that was unfair. Lin Moyu walked towards the entrance region, but before then, the warrior that was dragging them on, allowing him to enter, decided to go into a fight with the dynasty, and they all gathered him. Unfortunately, they killed the man to go into the dungeon. Immediately they saw him going, and they recognized him and remembered their master was inside. He needed to get the Goblin King's core, but the depth of that was meager. And they realized it needed 100 days to get that done, and it was eventually the 100th day. So they needed to keep it protected and not allow anyone inside the dungeon. They have been inspired to have it for a very long time and have yet to gain it. As Lin Moyu walked in, he eventually countered that the Goblin King's core was worth 30,000 gold, so putting 10,000 as the price is just dirty of them. Then he walked to them and asked, "What is the use of the core?" And they answered him that it could be made into a Goblin King's ring. "What a powerful ring," he said to himself. "To a beginner, it is an overpowered accessory to have." The dynasty still went further, telling him that their leader badly needed the Goblin's core to go to Xinjiang Academy, and all they needed now was the King Goblin's core. Lin Moyu realized whatever it was that he needed to increase and level up his skill, and that shouldn't stop him from accomplishing his mission. As he left them, he walked towards the entrance, and they were shocked that he didn't consider what they told him. They tried to use their mouths to stop him when he didn't have to put in some action, as they planned to kill him because he seems not to listen. Then the greater of them walked to his front, and he told him to walk off his way. He soaked on his face that he realized who he was talking to. Lin Moyu insisted he should get lost. The others tried to let him know that he should be careful. He might be killed with the way he spoke with their master here, but no, he knows who he was too and knows what he's capable of doing. Instead of him feeling nervous about their dynasty master, the master was the one feeling nervous. He said to him that it seems he's on of those level 12 mages. Still, he's more than he thought he was, but instead of stopping, he kept going, making their master order his death. As they walked toward him with a battle spirit, he was energized by his 25 skill mages too, and they started the fight. He performed some incredible skills, and they were so amazed that one out of 3 mages could do that. And they realized that he was using the most potent attack of a level 20 mage. Immediately, they realized monsters had attacked them, and these monsters exceeded them. Their master ordered them to form, and they should attack. And he made them enhance their skills so that everywhere was filled with fighting scenarios. They set for their own blessings, and the Dynasty Guild, which is usually undefeated. But this battle was the one that other skeleton warriors joined in. These skeleton warriors are now more than they ever thought. As he walked into the skeleton warriors, it seems he tormented them and made the skeleton warriors attack the guilds all. While he was there standing, the skeleton warriors attacked all the guilds, including their master. They did their shielding skills, and at the end it was useless. They called for help, no one could answer them. At the instant of it, the skeleton warriors overthrown them and burned them all into ashes till they vanished away. Even their traces was nowhere to be found. The other people around the corner and witnessed everything that happened realized that if the guild king came out and didn't find his members, he would kill them all one by one, so they tried to run out of sight. Half an hour later, after Lin Moyu had entered inside to look for the Goblin King's core, he could not find it. Later, when the guild leader went to where the rest of his team was, they could not find any of their people. He was so surprised where they could be that he thought of Zhao Hai, the master of the other guild, if he had left him alone and went anywhere else. But later on, he then imagined that he was the strongest in that area, and what could have happened? Maybe it was a battle, but if it was possible for him to be killed. So he walked round. Even though could not find their traces, he decided to leave there, because it would not be safe if it was confirmed that a battle occurred there. An hour later, he found a book after thoroughly finding and fighting with the attackers inside the dungeon. So he sat down, and as he read through, he discovered that the Goblin King didn't drop the core at all. So he decided that he would go to the Xiajing Academy and find an alchemist before making the Goblin King's ring. The Goblin King's book was actually a powerful magical book of the Spirit 10, Physique 10, the magic attack power of 3, and a level of 12. So he discovered that the magic book is also helpful for the soul flame and corpse explosion and useless for the skeleton warriors. As he stood up to go, he found out that the experience points were becoming difficult to gather, and that if he wanted to reach level 15, he would work 3 times harder. Though it was lower than what he wanted, it could be enough for him to get to Xinjiang Academy. Then he decided to teleport out, and he saw that everyone had left already. The next day, Xiasui, a lady from behind, where the Lin Moyu stood, said to herself that she had finally reached level 10, where she could finally challenge the Sihai Mine dungeon. It's Lin Moyu. She realized he was the only one who could summon those creatures like the skeleton warriors. She discovered he was going in solo and found it surprising that he could clear up the skeleton warriors alone. 45 minutes later, after he had meditated and leveled up his power, his skeleton army is now like 72. She went out again to seek a more enormous creature to kill so he could level up higher. As he killed a very mighty monster, he let it know that it used to kill, and now it was his turn to kill it too. 12 hours later, he returned, checked his levels and all, and found out he needed 3 more times. So he sat down at a quiet place and evaluated himself. He had 76 skeleton warriors, and his attributes had increased to 2,300 also. Lin Moyu, Xia Shue, the lady called him from behind. She asked him what level he was, and he told her he was 14. She was very amazed by his increase, and she queried him how he had gone about it, and that when they were little together, she was in level 5, while he was in level 7. After she had cleared out 2 dungeons, she worked harder to increase to level 11, and now his is still very far ahead of her own. She then walled out of him, half surprised, half angry. 1 hour later, she was troubled and said she hadn't done well but needed to work harder to increase her level. She never would get defeated, and she was too competitive. 1 hour later, she walked up to him again, and told him she could not talk. And she's still in level 11, and she went for fishing to increase again. Half an hour later, she walked up to him and realized she had increased to level 12. He then asked her whether she was not tired, because she looked like someone who had worked for a very long time so far. She told him she was definitely, and he asked why she was still doing all that she was doing, but he got to know that she never wanted to be overshadowed by him again, right from the beginning that he had overshadowed her, so she need to get everything done to surpass him. He then imagined he had given her a chance then, but she said that was not it, and that she wanted to go to Xinjiang Academy too. So he advised her and told her the qualities of being a candidate for Xia Xing. She found that it would be difficult for her to make it through, but he told her if she made sure to clear the nightmare energy stuff, she could find it easy to get it done. Xia Zhui and Lin Moyu settled on a quiet hill, engaging in a lively discussion. Xia Zhui, in the midst of their conversation, handed Lin Moyu a cooldown talisman from her bag. This unique item, meant for reducing mission cooldowns, could only be wielded by adventurers at level 20 or higher. Captivated by its magical aura, he inquired about its price. She went on to reveal that even her father, hesitant about its nature, was initially reluctant to bequeath it to her. As the conversation unfolded, Xia Xue's expression shifted to a mix of realization and urgency. She suddenly remembered that she had only 2 days left to make use of the talisman before its effects would go to waste. She screamed that she was so tired and frustrated by it all. Then Lin Moyu let her know that he could get it done for her and help her out so that she would make it to level 15 without doing anything much herself. Then she remembered that he was powerful enough to solo the dungeon, but she found it difficult to get it done herself. Then she decided to rest on the rock for 2 hours. Definitely, she woke up immediately after 2 hours, and they went hunting. As they moved to the best region, Lin Moyu pressed the cooldown talisman, and immediately there were strange changes everywhere, which was because he put it at a very high power. Xia Xue questioned why he did it like that, but there was no reply. Immediately, giant skeleton warriors started coming out, and everything Kida looked very awkward and scary, as Xia Xue, too, was scared. He asked her if she was, but she lied and shouted she was never afraid and could not leave. Furthermore, he decided to run into the main building where the monsters were coming out from, but still she stuck beside him as they walked through the hall. They came across the nightmare level of the Wolf King, which was within the mine. It was twice as big compared to the normal difficulty. As they faced it one-on-one, Xia Zhui used his spelling power of corpse exposure. As he used it on it, the king wolf immediately went down. He had never wanted to do the same thing he used to do. Instead of fighting with it directly, he just had to make use of the corpse exposure for it. As that happened, Xia Zhui had a 30% increase in her ability and all. It seemed very easy and fast. She was so amazed and started questioning him if that's how he did it. Within 30 minutes, he was able to destroy something compelling. But all his answer was that they should keep on moving. As they walked through the dim hall, walking through the wall, Xia Xue and Lin Moyu were greeted by the imposing figure of another monster king, standing tall and formidable before them. Lin Moyu, undeterred by the challenge, approached the colossal creature with a keen interest. As he drew closer, an inexplicable connection formed, and a surge of energy coursed through him. In an instant, his power level escalated, and he achieved the impressive status of level 16. Embracing his newfound strength, Lin Moyu discovered that, as a level 16 mage, he now qualified for a coveted reward, the Sword of the Goblin King, a staff renowned as the best weapon for mages below level 20. The prospect of wielding such a powerful artifact excited him, and he couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment for overcoming the Monster King's challenge. But all he did was give her the rod to use while he had the King Goblin's magic book with him. They went out for more hunting, but before that, he had explained how he needed to kill more 6 mighty monsters like it again in order for them to accomplish their mission. As time went on, they decided to kill more and more till the 4th monster, Xia Hui, had gotten to level 14 already. They had also used up the cooldown talisman and still had more than enough time to complete their mission. They had up to 2 days and more techniques to complete it well. Xiaozhui was definitely so happy to have had someone like him. She asked him if he also wanted to increase his level too, and he was, or if he should be the provincial champion, as he reasoned. As the provincial champion, would be able to obtain a bunch of points, which would definitely be useful when he entered the Xiaojing Academy. And the best of it was that it might give him the opportunity to get into Chuangshen Academy. He had heard once through his father that it was the best academy in the whole town. They also heard that it was the school of elites upon elites, and that Senior Su Guansheng was the only person from the entire Zhihai city to have entered it. Then he thought of how he could be the second person in the entire academy, how his uncle would be very happy about that and give himself a happy sleepless night, and so on. Also, because his sister had been in the Xiaojing Academy, he should also consider Su Quan in the future. Furthermore, when they got to their destination, they saw Gao Yang, a 11-level student. She looked at him as one who needs to improve very well, at least to level 13 so he could face the normal dungeon. They watched him as he instructed people around the dungeon to leave there and move farther away. Then Gao Yang walked into the hall to see their leader, but before this, he had given thought to accepting him to be among them, which Xiaozhui didn't have any issue with. So when he met their leader, he was so angry with him as he questioned him how the rest of the guild had gone missing. So he let him know that he should stay behind, and he would send for others to look for them. As they all imagined how they would go together, and only he was coming back without knowing where the others were, and there were still no traces of them. They both went to meet him as he walked our side. Jia Shui called him as he turned. He looked at her and was happy to see her. They discussed about how to get him upgraded to level 13 or higher, and they told him they would assist him out for that by clearing up dungeons too. He was so pleased about it, and he also told them how he has wished to increase indeed so he could go to the school he desired for. After the discussion, he told them he should use his little time before they went on the mission to clear off some bad monsters in the bush. As he said this, he joked along by telling them how they should be together, or getting together into a relationship. But before he could finish it, she also made some exposure fire and decided to chase him away, though Lin Moyu saw it as a kind of playing stuff that he never meant. 10 hours later, Lin and Jia eventually picked the wrong difficulty, which leads to them all clearing the dungeon at the nightmare difficulty. Then he instructed he should not do anything but follow them behind. Then he started following Jia at her bank, till she observed and asked him why he was doing so. He said that he could do only from the monster grays because of the nightmare difficulty. So all he could do was just walk around and see the wonders Lin Moyu had been performing compared to what he alone can do with even other warriors, and still they cannot get it done. After he had destroyed the giant monster, Gao Yang bent at his front and asked him to permit her to go with him on the next round. This time, he didn't want to watch again, even as Xia spoke with him in an unusual tone. So he decided and accepted that he should go with them and also destroy the monsters. He was happy about that and thought of how he would increase rapidly to 16, Xia Shui to 15, and Gao Yang to 12. After then, they remembered that the day of the examination was the next day to go, so they imagined how the other students would have been preparing for it too. In the evening, when they were supposed to meet their lecturer, the uncles and lecturers of the students were all gathered waiting for the students and their performances. A lecturer then spoke out and told Lao Lu, one of their lecturer, that he had noticed that there were too many good students in his class who were aiming to go to Xiaojing Academy. Within a minute, the lecturers started seeing the students coming toward them. It was a first sword guy whose level was only 13, and later a lady came up again whose level was 14. And as they were looking through the hill, they were expecting and discussing Lin Moyu, Xia Shui, and Gao Yang that had gone out in order to strive hard for their improvement. Immediately, when they were still kind of worried about the children being back safely, They saw the three kids coming from behind. They were so happy for them at first. And later on were very amused that Xia Shui was able to make it to level 15. Gao Yang increased rapidly, and exceptional Gao Yang had been successfully increased to level 16, where he had 100% and more privilege to entering Xiajing Academy, while Xia Shui had 80% to enter the academy too. They quickly welcomed them and took them to the bus where they can rest their body for the next day's exam. Fortunately, Lecturer Liu was very proud of Lin Moyu indeed. It came the next day when they're to do the examination. They walked to the hall where the lecturer instructed them on what to do and what not to do, and how to crack the stone in order to teleport to the examination hall. As they got there, a guy first messed up by speaking abnormally inside the exam hall, which was against the rules. Immediately they expelled him. As they moved on, the exam started, and they were put into a hall resembling the dungeon, which Lin Moyu had been familiar with already. Immediately when the monster approached him, he struck it down and destroyed it in an interval of 0.1 sec. All these inspectors outside were so surprised of this act. All of a sudden, Lin Moyu had been killing the monsters in just 0.5 seconds. All the inspectors and lecturers were so amazed that they had to respect the main teacher for having a powerful student like his. When they saw the scoring of the exams, Lin Moyu happened to be the first, with a score of 100, the powerful student who was not part of them with a score of 70, then came Xia Shui with a score of 40. It was time to choose the next monster to flirt with. Gao Yang decided to choose a mighty monster in order for him to do better and increase his score, while Xia Shui chose hellish skeleton warriors, which was not only one but like 12 giant monsters all together. But this was very powerfully that he was able to instant kill these 12 monsters in an interval of 1 minute, each for nothing less than 3 seconds. All the lecturers were so amazed, and after the fight, they evaluated the students and their performances as they had to go further to the 4th exam till the 5th last one. So as they checked it all out, they discovered that almost half a student was injured, of thousands of candidates who were present for the examination. Lin Moyu appears to be the only student who had more time to rest even on the examination battlefield. As time passed, they decided to move on to the 4th examination battle, where some of the lecturers had agreed. They assumed that Lin Moyu would definitely be the provincial champion for that year's examination, and that he would be the world mark record too.